have difficulty making friends as an autistic person? Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I was looking back and thinking back over to my childhood, and I don't think I ever found it difficult to make friends per se. It was more the sort of keeping friends that I would find difficult. And what I mean is, I was really good. I found that I was really good, well, I think I was really good anyway, on a one-to-one level. So, you know, like girls do, girls become very close very quickly, very cliquey very quickly. And I was very good on a one-to-one sort of best friend basis. And I'd be really good as long as that was the case. But then as soon as other people came in, so friends started inviting their other friends around, for example, and there would be like 3 of us or 4 of us or 5 of us. And when that dynamic changed, I used to find that really difficult, because I think it was that loss of connection between the other person, and I felt like I was special and that the connection was special. And then as soon as the other people got involved, for me, it felt like that specialness had been lost. And that's when I found things start to deteriorate. So I would probably act up a bit, be a bit bossy, try and take control of the situation because I had no control over that loss that I was feeling. Or on the flip side, be the complete reverse and be really quiet and upset and sort of step back from the group. So either way, the friendships tend to die out, because I would only really want that one-to-one connection. And when you get older and people do more things in groups, I would find that very, very difficult. So yeah, I used to find that really hard, and I still do now. I don't really have many friends, and to be honest, I quite like it that way, because I find it very confusing and very difficult, and I take things really personally. I mean, for example, I've got one friend who lives locally, and this is quite a few months back. My husband and myself went for a walk, and we walked past her, and she was busy, and I waved and smiled, and she looked over in our direction, and I assumed she'd seen us, which it turns out she hadn't. But for the next however long on the walk, I was saying to my husband, oh, right, okay then, so maybe she doesn't like me then, so what have I done wrong? I've clearly offended her. Oh, all right, fine. You know, got like really upset and defensive about it. And this is as like, at the time, a 41-year-old woman. And when I actually sat down one-to-one with this friend, and we were laughing and joking about things, and I mentioned this because we were talking about autism and neurodiversity and stuff like this. And I was saying about how my brain works, and I gave her the scenario and I told her about it. And she just laughed, and she said, well, absolutely, of course you haven't offended me or upset me in any way. I just didn't see you. And my logical brain knows that she just didn't see me and that I haven't done anything wrong. But the overanalyzing of it and the sort of fear that, oh my God, last time I saw her, did I upset her? Have I sent her something on the text message? Have I done that wrong? The overanalyzing of it all is enough to drive you mad. So I tend to keep groups, or I say groups, don't do groups, but I tend to keep my circle of people quite small for that reason. And it would be the same, like people have invited me out over the years, like, oh, come out with me and my friends and we'll go here and we'll do that. And I'm like, no, thank you, because I love having that one-to-one connection with that person. And for me, I'm happy just doing that. Like, even if I don't see you very often or speak to you very often, when we have that connection, then that's what it's all about for me, the friendship thing, the one-to-one thing. I don't want to necessarily go out with you and your friends to a party or a club or whatever it might be, to a restaurant. And that's not me being rude, and I understand that you're being very nice in inviting me, and it's nice to be invited, but I don't want to go because it would make me feel really super awkward. So yeah, that's my kind of experience. So that's why I suppose I don't have like loads of friends, and found friends have left my life over the years. and it's okay. And it's, once I discovered I was autistic, it all just made sense, because I couldn't really understand as a younger person why I would get sort of so disappointed by people. And ultimately it wasn't their fault, it's just that their brains worked differently to mine. So when they couldn't work out why, they would just thought I was being rude or antisocial when I didn't want to go out and, you know, do the things that they wanted to do. Or if I did do those things, I would find them very awkward and very challenging. And they wouldn't necessarily always see that. You know, they might be like, oh, but you had such a nice time, we had such a great time when we did this, that or the other. And I think, well, yeah, you did. And on the surface, I appeared to have a good time. And maybe it wasn't all bad, but ultimately, inside I'm thinking, okay, when can I go home? When can I kick these shoes off? When can I take this makeup off? When can I have my one-to-one time with my friend again? Because I'm not enjoying this whole group thing. And yeah, I'm not good with that. And that goes for all sorts of things, not just friendship, but like with learning as well. I find it much easier to learn things on a one-to-one basis, whether that's through reading or listening or watching things to learn, or having like a tutor one-to-one to learn something. I don't enjoy being in the group environment really of any kind. One thing springs to mind is when I was very little, and I must have probably said to my mum at some point I wanted to try like a ballet or a dance ballet class. I was very small, and so she arranged it so I could go, and then I went, and then I just hid behind her leg the whole time, and I couldn't even go to one class. Another one was when I was on holiday, and you know, like you go like the kids club, like when you're in Spain or whatever, the kids club people would come round and say, oh, you know, would such and such like to come and join the kids club? And my mum would be like, oh yeah, brilliant, please go to the kids club so that I can have some grown-up time. I would not go to the kids club. That was terrifying to me. I mean, even as an adult, that's still terrifying for me, the thought of going to a kids club, like with all these random children that I don't know, that I have no interest in knowing, and just, yeah, that's just awful. And I would get the same feeling now if I had to go on like a team building sort of exercise with colleagues or something, and that's just like awful. There's so many things wrong with that, you know, spending time with people you don't really want to spend time with, leaving your home and your space, your safe space, and having to act and be a certain way with people that you're not really interested in. And even if you are interested in them, you know, you don't dislike them. It's just the sort of forced aspect of it all for autistic people. For me, certainly, I find that very frightening and very yeah, that's just not happening. So anyhow, I digress. But yeah, so making friends, not really a problem. I'm quite for quite an introverted, quiet person. I'm very outgoing, if that makes sense. I think I've learned over the years how to present myself, how to be outgoing, how to speak to people, how to get on in life. So on the outside, I've always seemed as a very sort of like life and soul type person, but inside, that's not what I want to be doing at all. I just want to be at home and close the door on the world. So it can be confusing. I understand how that can be confusing for other people, because it's been as confusing as hell for me over the years. But at least with understanding autism now, that I can understand myself a lot better. So I don't think it's necessarily difficult for kids to make, autistic kids or adults to make friends. I think a lot of the time we're very good at making friends, but it's keeping friends, and it's understanding the type of friendship that we maybe enjoy, that can be challenging to other, particularly other neurotypical people who would see the world completely differently to us. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thanks for watching, guys, and let me know if you have any interesting stories about friendships.